Well, good morning. I'm glad to see you all here on a Sunday in this nippy part of the year. This time of year at the end of October and the beginning of November, when we start to remember and acknowledge our connections to worlds past, to our current world, and to worlds that will follow us. And we tell ourselves about those through our stories, the things that we learned from our ancestors, and the things that we will tell our children and grandchildren as a preparation for their own life as they move forward. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here with us this morning. We have a wonderful guest who will be helping with our storytelling legacy on this time when we think about our ancestors and spirits that are a part of our lives. And I know for young ones, it's that exciting time of the year when you're starting to make sure that you've got your Halloween costume all put together so that you're ready to go out and spook and have a good time. And I hope that safely you all will enjoy your Halloween this year. Our call to worship this morning is entitled, They Are With Us Still, an acknowledgement of those ancestors. It's from the Reverend Kathleen McTeague. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before, and they too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still, and their lives hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices and their hands and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. That reminds us of the heritage of the ancestors that were in this place before our ancestors arrived and before we came here. The people who stewarded this land in the First Nations, who helped us understand about living on the land and about how to run a democracy. The people who inspire us still with their native ways and their understanding of the truths of our land. We seek to be a good steward of this property and to leave it as a legacy for those who follow us. In our community that seeks to nurture one another, inspire action to heal the world, and to share our love with the larger community. This morning, we light our chalice as our symbol of being together as a worship community, and then we will say our chalice lighting unison words. Say with me, please. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. I'm going to turn it over to Tim, who's going to tell you about how our worship service is going to work today. A little bit different than usual.
Yes, today we are lucky to have our guest storyteller, who I will introduce in a moment. After her first and third stories, we're going to give you folks all a chance to tell each other some stories. And I will put you in breakout rooms of 4, and you'll have 5 minutes to share with each other. So depending on how many people are in your room, you might have to share quickly, but you'll have 5 minutes total. And then we'll call you back into the main group. For the first and third stories, there will be sort of a guiding question. And just before I send you out in the breakout rooms, I will let you know what that is by putting it in the chat to everyone. So you will be able to access it through the chat. So our guest storyteller this morning is Amber Wood. Amber has been reading aloud with children across North America for over 25 years. Passionate about helping folks of all ages develop literacy skills and a love of reading, she may often be discovered sitting crisscross applesauce on the floors of libraries and independent bookstores looking for her next favorite tales to share. Amber is the founding story lady at Lightbulb Heart, a Hamilton-based storytime and collaborative theater company committed to emotional wholeness and dismantling oppression through thoughtful story curation and compassionate engagement. So we welcome Amber this morning. And without further ado, Amber is going to read us our first story called These Hands by Floyd Cooper.
Yes, this is These Hands by Margaret H. Mason, and these beautiful illustrations are by Floyd Cooper. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to tie a triple bowline knot in 3 seconds flat? Well, I can still help a young fellow learn to tie his shoes. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to make the ivory sing like a sparrow in springtime? Well, I can still show a young fellow how to play heart and soul. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to pluck the ace of spades right out of thin air? Well, I can still teach a young fellow how to do a waterfall shuffle. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands used to throw a curveball faster than a dive-bombing honeybee? Well, I can still help a young fellow learn to hit a line drive. Yes, I can. Look at these hands, Joseph. Did you know these hands were not allowed to mix the bread dough in the Wonder Bread factory? Did you know these hands were not allowed to touch the bread dough in the Wonder Bread factory? These hands were only allowed to sweep the floors and work the line and load the trucks. Because the bosses said white people would not want to eat bread touched by these hands. Well, these hands joined with other hands, and we wrote our petitions, and we carried our signs, and we raised our voices together. Now any hands can mix the bread dough, no matter their color. Now any hands can touch the bread dough, no matter their color. Yes, they can. Look at these hands, Grandpa. These hands used to not be able to tie a shoe. Or play the piano. Or shuffle the cards. Or hit the ball. Now I can do all that, plus bake a fine loaf of bread, can't I? Why, yes, you can, Joseph. Look at those hands. Those hands can do anything. Anything at all in this whole wide world. Yes, you can.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
This story is The Girl and the Wolf. Words by Katharina Vermette and pictures by Julie Flett. The girl ran through the bush while her mother picked berries. She was helping her, but mostly running. "Don't go too far," her mother called. "It's going to be dark soon." "Okay," the girl said, but kept running. Suddenly, the girl looked up and couldn't see her mother anymore. She panicked and looked one way, but didn't see her. She tried to calm down, looked the other way, but still couldn't see her. Everything got quiet and dark. The girl felt cold and scared. She didn't know what to do. Out from between the trees, a tall gray wolf with big white teeth appeared. The girl was very still. "What are you doing out here by yourself?" asked the wolf. "I lost my mother," she said. "I can't see my way back." "You must be scared, little one," said the wolf in a quiet voice. "Yes, I am," the girl told him. "Do you know the way back?" he asked. The girl shook her head. The wolf came up close and sniffed her. His wolf breath was hot and stank of meat. "I think I know where you come from, little one," said the wolf. "But it is almost dark. You must be hungry." "Yes, I am." The girl nodded and her stomach rumbled. "Do you know how to hunt?" asked the wolf. The girl shook her head. "What are you going to do?" asked the wolf. The girl looked around. Everything was quieter and darker. The girl felt very cold. "I don't know," she said sadly. "Yes, you do," said the wolf. "Take a deep breath, close your eyes, then look. What do you see?" The girl did what he said. And when she opened her eyes, she saw something that made her feel better. "I can eat those berries. They are safe to eat. The ones by the stream where the water is safe to drink," she pointed. "That's good, little one," said the wolf. "Let's go." The girl drank in gulps and ate 2 handfuls of berries. "Now, what are you going to do?" asked the wolf. The girl looked around. Everything was still, quiet. It's pretty dark. "I don't know," she said. "Yes, you do," said the wolf. "Take a deep breath, close your eyes, then look. What do you see?" The girl did what he said. And when she opened her eyes, she saw something that made her feel better. The skinny trees over there, that's where we camped, the girl said with a big grin. The gray wolf nodded and smiled at her with his big white teeth. The girl started walking, but was really running. She ran to the smell that smelled of her family. She laughed out loud and looked to her side, but she did not see the big gray wolf anywhere. She looked one way, but didn't see him. She looked the other way, but still couldn't see him. Just then, her mother appeared with her basket full of berries. "Oh, my girl," her mother cried, "I told you not to go too far." "Mama, I was lost and a wolf helped me," the girl told her. Her mother was surprised. "A wolf?" "Yes," the girl said. "He was big and gray. At first, I thought he was going to hurt me." Her mother smiled. Real wolves can hurt people, but I've heard old stories about wolves who helped lost children, too. The girl smiled. She was glad the wolf had been the helping kind. When they returned to their camp, the girl told everyone about her big adventure and her special wolf. That night, she tied tobacco in red cloth and left it at the bush's edge, because she didn't know a better way to say thank you. It's The Girl and the Wolf by Katharina Vermette and Julie Flett.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Juliana Beckett, and I am co-lead of your Canvas team this year. And so I'm going to give you a little update about our Canvas. The Canvas period officially ends today, October 25th. It is extremely heartening to me that we are more than 2/3 of the way to our Canvas goal. I believe we are at around 198,000 right now out of 280,000. But we haven't heard from everyone yet, so we are still hoping to make that goal once all of our pledges come in. As part of a celebration of our congregation today, I want to share the inspiration that we received from some of you. As we have reflected on our interdependence, here are some words from our fellow congregants about some reasons we give. Renata Manthai shared, "The church has been an important part of my life over the years, beginning with when my children were small. It's comforting to know the community is always there with people who care. I am always amazed at how much people contribute and make it such a valued community." When considering reasons to give, Gail Rappold says, "To ensure this community is available to others, not just me." Barb Wallace has highlighted that we need to work to keep a strong presence of Unitarian Universalism in Hamilton, a liberal religious alternative. This takes money. And Pat Dickinson wrote the following, "Roy and I have always made significant pledges to Canvas because we feel it is a small payment for the benefits we receive on an almost daily basis. The church represents our spiritual home, where we are reminded of how we want to live our lives. It is the place where we can live out our principles in action, and perhaps most importantly, we treasure those with whom we share it. And the music alone is worth our pledge. All these benefits are made even more important during a crisis like the pandemic. The church has been our lifeline and continues to give us hope about our future in so many ways. We plan to increase our monthly pledge this year to reflect the additional money above and beyond our pledge that we always dropped into the collection plate on Sunday mornings." And as part of our celebration of this Canvas Sunday, I have completed our Canvas web so it can be shared with everyone. So it's over here. I'll bring it forward. Our little Canvas spider has put a chalice in the center. Please keep your eyes on our e-announcements for further updates on our Canvas results. And if you haven't pledged yet, please fill in the form online or send an email to canvas@uuhamilton.ca. Tell us about your pledge or that you are not able to pledge. Our Canvas callers will be starting this week to follow up from those we haven't heard from. And finally, please watch for our second Canvas newsletter that will be emailed out this afternoon as a final musing reflecting on this Canvas period. Thank you very much for the many ways you support our church, both financially and in many other ways.
Thank you for sharing that update, Juliana. I really appreciate it. And we will do our chanting now as a way to relax and absorb that good news.
Humbly and with gratitude, remember the ancient ones who walked this land. Humbly we walk here, humbly we sing here, humbly we bless this ground. Humbly we walk here, with gratitude we sing here, remember the ancient ones who walked this land. Humbly we walk here, with gratitude we sing here, humbly we bless this ground. Humbly we walk here, with gratitude we sing here, humbly we bless this ground. Humbly we walk here, with gratitude we sing here, humbly we bless this ground. Humbly and with gratitude, remember the ancient ones who walked this land.
Our third story from Amber.
It's The Keeping Quilt, Words and Pictures by Patricia Polacco. When my great-grandma Anna came to America, she wore the same thick overcoat and big boots she had worn for farm work. But her family weren't dirt farmers anymore. In New York City, her father's work was hauling things on a wagon, and the rest of the family made artificial flowers all day. Everyone was in a hurry, and it was so crowded, not like in back home Russia. But all the same, it was their home, and most of their neighbors were just like them. When Anna went to school, English sounded to her like pebbles dropping into shallow water. In 6 months, she was speaking English. Her parents almost never learned, so she spoke English for them, too. The only things she had left of back home Russia were her dress and the babushka she liked to throw up into the air when she was dancing. And her dress was getting too small. After her mother had sewn her a new one, she took her old dress and babushka. Then from a basket of old clothes, she took Uncle Vladimir's shirt, Aunt Havela's nightdress, and an apron of Aunt Natasha's. We will make a quilt to help us always remember home, Anna's mother said. It will be like having the family in back home Russia dance around us at night. And so it was. Anna's mother invited all the neighborhood ladies. They cut out animals and flowers from the scraps of clothing. Anna kept the needles threaded and handed them to the ladies as they needed them. The border of the quilt was made of Anna's babushka. On Friday nights, Anna's mother would say the prayers that started the Sabbath. The family ate challah and chicken soup. The quilt was the tablecloth. Anna grew up and fell in love with great-grandpa Sasha. To show he wanted to be her husband, he gave Anna a gold coin, a dried flower, and a piece of rock salt, all tied into a linen handkerchief. The gold was for wealth, the flower for love, and the salt so their lives would have flavor. She accepted the hanky, and they were engaged. Under the wedding chuppah, Anna and Sasha promised each other love and understanding. After the wedding, the men and women celebrated separately. When my grandma Carla was born, Anna wrapped her daughter in the quilt to welcome her warmly into the world. Carla was given a gift of gold, flour, salt, and bread. Gold, so she would never know poverty. A flower, so she would always know love. Salt, so her life would always have flavor. And bread, so she would never know hunger. Carla learned to keep the Sabbath and to cook and clean and do washing. Married you'll be someday, Grandma Carla said. And again, the quilt became a wedding chuppah, this time for Carla's wedding to Grandpa George. Men and women celebrated together, but they still did not dance together. In Carla's wedding bouquet was a gold coin, bread, and salt. Carla and George moved to a farm in Michigan, and great-grandma Anna came to live with them. The quilt once again wrapped a new little girl, Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen called Anna Lady Grandma. She had grown very old and was sick a lot of the time. The quilt kept her legs warm. On Anna's 98th birthday, the cake was a kulich, a rich cake with raisins and candied fruit in it. When great-grandma Anna died, prayers were said to lift her soul to heaven. My mother, Mary Ellen, was grown up now. When Mary Ellen left home, she took the quilt with her. When she became a bride, the quilt became her chuppah. For the first time, friends who were not Jews came to the wedding. My mother wore a suit, but in her bouquet were gold, bread, and salt. The quilt welcomed me, Patricia, into the world. And it was the tablecloth for my first birthday. At night, I would trace my fingers around the edges of each animal on the quilt before I went to sleep. I told my mother stories about the animals on the quilt. She told me whose slave had made the horse, whose apron had made the chicken, whose dress had made the flowers, and whose babushka went around the edge of the quilt. quilt was a pretend cape when I was in the bull ring, or sometimes a tent in the steaming Amazon jungle. At my wedding to Enzo Mario, men and women danced together. In my bouquet were gold, bread, and salt, and a sprinkle of wine, so I would always know laughter. "20 years ago, I held Tracy Denise in the quilt for the first time. Someday, she too will leave home, and she will take the quilt with her." That is The Keeping Quilt by Patricia Polacco.
Thank you, Amber.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Where did we come from? Where are we going? Where did we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Where did we come from? Where are we?
Where
Where are we going? Where did we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Where do we come from? Mystery. What are we? Life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Mystery. What are we? Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where did we come from? Where are we?
Where are we going?
Where did we come from? What are we?
Where are we going? Where did we come from? What are we? Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, what are we? Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where did we come from? Where are we?
Where are we going? Where did we come from?
What are we?
Where are we going? Where did we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Like where and a mystery.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Mystery,
Where
mystery.
do
Life is a
we
riddle and a
come
mystery.
from?
Mystery,
Where
mystery.
do
Life is a
we
riddle and a
come
mystery.
from? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery.
As we come closer to the end of our time together this morning, first I want to thank Amber for being with us and sharing 3 amazingly wonderful stories from different perspectives, reminding us of our connections over the ages and with our ancestors, with the stories that we have been told and the stories we will tell, the things that we keep and the things that we pass on, and the wisdom that is a part of that for all of us, remembering on whose shoulders we stand and for whom we will be the shoulders as they move into the future. Stories are such a part of our lives, and I've selected this as our benediction for today. It's by Ian Huntington Bear. You are in the story of the world. You are the world coming to know itself. May you trust that all you will ever say or do belongs in the story of the world.